You've been taught to look outward for power, to chase the sun, to gather light from other minds, other sources. Yet the ancients, those who remembered the first silence, knew another way. Thoth, scribe of the gods, guardian of the Akashic scrolls, master of balance, did not raise his staff toward stars in defiance. Instead, he turned inward toward the boundless light that flickers just behind closed eyes. In the quiet of night, where the world hushes its noise, his teachings emerge not in words, but in awareness. The first illusion to be shattered is that your mind is a prisoner to thought. This is not so. The mind is a mirror, and what you see reflected within it is not what must be, but only what is noticed. If the mind is clouded, the world seems stormy. If the mirror is cracked, life appears fragmented. But when the mirror is still, when you become the stillness, it reflects the entire cosmos. This is the first principle of Hermetic wisdom. All is mind. The universe, Thoth says, is a mental construct, a divine thought dreamt into being. Now imagine this every night. As the sun sinks below the veil, you return to your temple. The outer world fades, and the inner temple breathes. This is not mere rest. This is initiation. In these hours of darkness, you are closer to the womb of creation than at any other time. The gates to the subconscious part, and if you are listening, truly listening, you may begin to hear Thoth's voice, not as language, but as alignment. You feel a resonance, a harmonic echo in your bones and your breath. He does not instruct like a teacher with facts. He guides like a river, gently wearing down the stones of illusion. Where you place your attention, he murmurs, you place your power. And the modern mind, conditioned by screens and stimulus, resists. It wants fireworks. But Thoth offers only silence. Why? Because silence is not absence. It is fullness, a presence too vast to contain sound. You do not need more information. You need less noise. You need to rediscover the inner ear, the one that listens not with sound, but with being. Ask yourself, what thoughts did I take as truth today, without question? What fears did I feed with my focus? Who authored my inner dialogue? Was it me, or some distant echo of expectation? The Hermetic path begins not with study, but with stillness. Thoth invites you to become the scribe of your own soul, to watch each thought as ink on the scroll of your night mind, and then gently to choose, to write a new story, not with force, but with feeling. Mentalism is not theory, it is practice. Every image you entertain, every story you replay, sets a tone in your frequency. That tone, repeated enough, becomes the signal you emit. And what you emit, the world returns. Here's a simple practice one Thoth offers through dream symbols. Before sleep, choose one single thought that embodies peace. Not as a concept, but as a sensation. Hold it in your chest like a candle. Breathe with it. Let it flood your mental mirror. Then, as you drift, speak inwardly. Let this be my imprint tonight. You are not escaping the world, you are seeding it. You are becoming the master of your mental temple. Remember, power is not noise. Power is precision. And the mind, when directed with grace, becomes the wand that parts illusion from reality. In truth, Thoth does not teach in speech. He teaches in alignment. When your frequency matches the truths he holds, you remember not intellectually, but energetically. You begin to become the principle. And so, as the night deepens, so too does your remembrance. You are not merely thinking thoughts, you are shaping existence. The mirror clears. You see yourself not as the reflection, but as the source of light. The outer world seems chaotic, spinning with uncertainty, noise, and contradiction. And yet in the ancient teachings, Thoth whispers beneath the hush of stars. He reveals this paradox. All apparent chaos dances to an unseen rhythm. All movement flows through the law. To the untrained eye, life is random. But to the eye awakened in the night, everything is song. This is the second principle, the principle of rhythm, and entwined with it, the principle of polarity. Thoth shows that every swing of the pendulum in your life is but one part of a greater harmony. Joy and sorrow rise and fall, contraction and expansion. They are not opposites, but extremes of the same arc. They do not oppose, they complete. Imagine your emotions as waves on the ocean of mind. The modern heart resists their flow, wishing to fix itself in certainty. But in Hermetic knowing, you are not the wave, you are the tide. You are the rhythm beneath the motion. And when the night comes, when the external world fades into hush, you can finally hear that deeper beat, the heartbeat of the cosmos pulsing through you. Here Thoth teaches not to resist the swing, but to master it. Neutralize by understanding, he says. When the pendulum of life swings into sorrow, do not identify with the descent. Instead, rise into the higher rhythm, the one that sees beyond temporary fluctuation. Your awareness is the fulcrum. From that still point, you observe the motion without being swept away. Polarity, too, is a veil. We think in binaries, right and wrong, light and dark, success and failure. But Thoth teaches that each is merely a degree on a spectrum. What you call darkness is only light not yet remembered. What you label fear is only love misunderstood. This revelation changes everything. When you encounter an unwanted emotion, don't fight it, transmute it. Shift its degree by shifting your frequency. Let's bring this to life. Imagine you feel overwhelmed. It's late. Your thoughts race. Regret clutches your chest. In that moment, stop chasing the feeling away. Close your eyes. Feel the rhythm underneath. Inhale slowly. Feel the peak. Exhale fully. Feel the trough. Then again and again. You are not fixing the chaos. You are entering the dance. Breath by breath, you return to center. You remember, the swing is not punishment, it is passage. Thoth says, the key is in knowing you are not what moves, but what watches. The more you awaken to the rhythm of things, the less the extremes can rule you. You begin to rise above. This is not denial, it is mastery. You can feel the sorrow and not drown in it. You can ride the joy and not cling to it. You become, as the Kabbalion says, the master of moods. Not because you suppress them, but because you know their law. This practice becomes especially potent at night when your conscious defenses lower. It is then that the deeper currents rise. Many feel uneasy in the silence not because of the dark, but because their inner rhythms have never been heard. Begin to listen. When you wake at 3 a.m. with a racing heart, instead of fear, become the observer. Ask, what song is my being trying to play? What part of me is longing to return to harmony? Polarity offers the same invitation. Every experience that triggers you is a teacher in disguise. Every person who reflects what you reject is an echo of your own spectrum. What irritates you may be what you have not yet integrated. What you admire may be what you have not yet owned. Thoth stands between the pillars of polarity, holding them in balance. He does not destroy duality, he transcends it. In your own life, this means becoming conscious of the stories you tell about good and bad success and failure. Begin to reframe. See everything as a continuum. When you shift your place on the spectrum, your world shifts too. A practical ritual. At day's end, before sleep, write down 2 emotions or events that felt opposite. Perhaps courage and doubt, achievement and failure. Then close your eyes and ask, where are these the same in essence? Listen not with logic, but with intuition. Feel how both served you. Feel how both moved you toward wholeness. Then whisper inwardly, thank you for the swing. I now stand at center. The night is not absence of light. It is the embrace of rhythm. And rhythm, when understood, becomes music. Let the pendulum swing. Let it sing. Let it awaken the master within you, who no longer fears movement, but who remembers the rhythm beneath all things. What is reality if not the arrangement of perception? What you see is not the world as it is. It is the world as you are. This, Thoth whispers in the quiet of the night, is the sacred alchemy of consciousness. To observe is to create, and what you look upon, you influence. This is not fantasy, but fundamental. The third Hermetic principle, vibration makes it so. All is energy in motion, in rhythm. And the eye that sees is never passive. It is a wand, a flame, a sacred architect. You were taught to believe that the world exists independent of you, and that you are at its mercy. But Thoth, ancient scribe of transmutation, says otherwise. Consciousness, he murmurs, is the philosopher's stone. What you behold, you mold. What you resist persists, and what you bless transforms. Every night, the veil thins. In sleep, you are not just resting, you are stepping into the crucible of alchemy. There in dreams, thoughts become textures. Feelings take form. And though the outer world may seem unchanged when you rise, your inner gaze has already rewritten the script. The one who wakes is not the one who fell asleep. If in the night you remembered to observe with love, here lies the true power. Perception is not passive. It is an active ingredient in the creation of your reality. Like the observer in quantum physics, whose awareness collapses probability into form, your attention is sacred. Where you place it determines what crystallizes. Let this sink in. When you look at someone with fear, you call forth their defenses. When you see them with compassion, you invite their truth. When you see yourself with shame, you reinforce separation. When you look with gentleness, the wound begins to dissolve. The act of observation is not small. It is sacred alchemy. This is the inner fire that transmutes shadow into gold. But what does this mean? Practically, how do we apply the alchemy of perception in the quiet dark of night? Begin with awareness. When you close your eyes at the end of the day, notice the stories still playing behind your lids. Are they loops of regret, echoes of comparison, images of lack? These too are perceptions, and they create frequency. Do not fight them. Instead, observe them with love. Let them arise like mist and whisper to each one, I see you. You are not me, but you are welcome here. This softening is the first step of alchemy. You do not change the world by force, you change it by resonance. When you change the frequency of your own field, you shift your alignment with the patterns of reality. Thoth does not tell you to battle your thoughts. He invites you to elevate them, to see them not as threats, but as raw material. Here is a ritual. Each night, choose one persistent thought that troubles you. Hold it like a stone in your hand, not to throw it away, but to examine it. Feel its texture. What belief lives inside it? What wound gave it birth? Then breathe slowly and ask, what would this thought become if I saw it through the eyes of the divine? Wait. Listen. A new perception will arise, gentler, truer. Let that become the thought you take into dream. In this practice, you become the alchemist. You take the base metal of fear and awaken its hidden gold. You no longer react, you respond. You no longer resist, you refine. You see that everything that arises is an invitation to awaken. This is why Thoth calls sleep not an ending, but a laboratory. In the dreamscape, freed from form, you rehearse new realities. You test new visions. And if your perception is tuned to love, to wonder, to gratitude, then even your dreams begin to shift. And with them, your waking world. Perception is creation. And the more consciously you observe, the more coherent your reality becomes. You are not broken. You are blooming. You are not lost. You are remembering. And the world, once perceived through these eyes, begins to shift with you. So tonight, do not fall asleep as if surrendering to unconsciousness. Fall asleep as a conscious alchemist. Let your final thought be chosen, not accidental. Let your inner gaze be soft, luminous, forgiving. Observe your mind, not with critique, but with curiosity. Watch how the energy rearranges itself when you cease to label and begin to love. This is the alchemy of perception. This is the teaching behind the silence. What you see becomes what is. Choose wisely. Choose beautifully. There is a hidden staircase within you, a bridge made not of stone or bone, but of resonance. It ascends without rising, reaches without moving. Thoth called it the ladder of light, though you may know it as correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul. This is the fourth Hermetic law, and perhaps the most humbling that nothing you experience is isolated. Every breath you take echoes through dimensions. Every dream is a reflection of the whole. The modern world convinces you that you are separate, that your body is sealed, your life contained. But this is the great illusion. In truth, your body is a tuning fork vibrating in harmony or dissonance with the frequencies of unseen realms. Your thoughts ripple through layers of being. What you whisper to yourself before sleep travels further than you know. Thoth, who walked between worlds and recorded their reflections in the Akashic pages, reveals this correspondence not to overwhelm, but to empower. You are not small. He speaks in your inner ear. You are the echo and the origin. What you align within you, summon without. To live this wisdom is to become cosmically intimate. It is to see the sacred geometry in your routines, to sense the divine in the details. When you rise, do you rush or do you breathe with the rhythm of stars? When you eat, do you bless or do you consume without seeing? Each act is a note in a celestial symphony, and your awareness is the conductor. At night, the veil thins, not only between waking and dreaming, but between your physical self and your archetypal essence. In sleep, you return to source. You remember the architecture of your soul. You are no longer bound by linear thinking. You float. You reflect, you connect. This is why sleep rituals matter. The energy you carry into sleep creates a resonance field that attracts corresponding experiences in the dream realm and by extension in waking life. So, how can you begin to walk this staircase to move in correspondence with the higher realms again? By living symbolically. Everything is a teacher. That frustration in traffic, a reflection of your inner resistance. That bird that appears on your windowsill 3 nights in a row, a whisper from your higher mind. When you begin to read the world as a mirror, it changes. Not because the events shift, but because you do. You enter into communion with the invisible architecture of life. A simple practice at the close of each day. Ask yourself not, what happened to me, but what was reflected to me. Look for patterns, not accidents. Did you feel dismissed? Where are you dismissing yourself? Did someone surprise you with kindness? Where have you begun to open? Read your life like a sacred text. Let Thoth guide your inner scribe. There is also a powerful way to apply this law in sleep. Before bed, visualize your body as a temple. Each breath you take fills it with light. Now imagine that light traveling upward through the spine into the higher centers. With each inhalation, feel the correspondence, your spine as the tree of life, your heart as the sun, your breath as the wind of the unseen. Speak inwardly. As I align within, I awaken without. Let this be your lullaby. Let your dreams be encoded with the symbols of balance. Thoth does not separate science from spirit or cosmos from cell. He shows that the same intelligence that governs the orbit of planets flows through your nervous system. The solar flare and the pulse of your heartbeat, these are siblings. There is no division, only degrees of perception. When you start to live in this awareness, decisions feel different. They are no longer reactions, they are rituals. You choose your words like spells. You walk like a priest, or priestess in a sacred world. Not out of rigidity, but reverence, because you remember what you do in one realm echoes in another. And yes, this path requires patience. You may not always see the effects immediately, but the correspondence is always active. When you offer forgiveness, inwardly, someone miles away may feel lighter. When you affirm your worth, the universe begins to organize around that vibration. The world outside rearranges to reflect the world within. This is the mystery you have always been, both map and terrain, both message and messenger. You are not waiting for a sign, you are the sign. You are not seeking light, you are rediscovering how to reflect it. So tonight, as you slip into the starry unknown, do so with intention. Sleep not like one escaping, but like one returning. Let your body become an altar. Let your breath become a bridge. And know every choice you make, no matter how small, ripples through the all. You are never alone. You are correspondence in motion. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of something deeper, something eternal. It is the space before the word, the pause between heartbeats, the quiet hum behind creation itself. This is where Thoth lives, not in the noise of opinion or the noise of mind, but in the lucid stillness that remains when all else is surrendered. In that space, he waits not with judgment, but with invitation. This is the final teaching. All truths rise from silence. It is the great origin and the final return. In silence, you do not think your way to wisdom. You remember your way there. Because at the core of your being, beneath the egoic layers and the mind's defenses, you already know. You already are what you've been seeking. You've been taught to fear the quiet, to fill the stillness with tasks, distractions, conversations. But silence is not your enemy. It is your true name. All sacred texts were born from it. All revelation emerges from its embrace. Thoth teaches that only in this fertile stillness can the soul receive the full transmission of higher truth. When the mind is quiet, the heart sun rises. Let us pause here, not to stop, but to enter. Imagine your soul as a great pool of still water. Every surface ripple is a thought, a fear, a memory. But if you wait, if you breathe, the ripples fade, and there beneath the surface, the reflection returns. You see yourself clearly, not as your story, but as your soul. Not as your past, but as the presence of now. The Hermetic principle of cause and effect reminds us that every vibration has consequence, but the highest cause, the one that shapes all effects, is stillness. Out of the void came form. Out of the ineffable came language. The mystic does not seek to add more, they seek to subtract until only truth remains. This is spiritual alchemy in its purest form, to dissolve identity into essence, to unbecome everything you were taught, and to become what you have always been. In the deep night, when the world is quiet and the sky vast above your roof, there is an opening, a silence not just around you, but within you. That silence is not empty, it is full. It pulses with potential. And in that fullness, you hear not with ears, but with being. Thoth speaks here, not in syllables, but in symbols. You may wake from a dream with a strange image or a forgotten melody lingering in your breath. These are transmissions. You may sense clarity about a decision you've been turning over for days with no logical path. That clarity, too, rose from the fertile void. And here is the paradox. The deeper you enter silence, the more alive you become. You begin to notice the nuances of life, the rhythm of your own breath, the golden thread of awe in mundane moments. You become luminous, not because you shine for others, but because you've become a mirror for the eternal. There is no force here, no pushing, no needing to understand. In fact, understanding fades in importance. What remains is intimacy. What remains is presence. To walk the path of Thoth is not to ascend into abstraction, it is to descend into now, into here, into breath, into body, into being. Let this be your nightly sanctuary, a moment before sleep where you return. No ritual required, no incense or posture, just awareness, just the willingness to listen. Perhaps you lie in bed, hand on heart, and whisper, I release the known. I return to the source, and then let go. Let the silence take you. What will arise? Perhaps nothing, or perhaps everything. Perhaps a gentle dream, perhaps a wordless peace. Perhaps just the knowing that you are not your thoughts, your past, or your ambitions. You are something vaster, something still. And here lies the truth. Thoth has been whispering all along. Enlightenment is not found in noise or action or effort. It is remembered in stillness. You do not need to do more. You need only to stop running, to sit beneath the sky of your own consciousness. And remember, you are already the temple. You are already the light. When all else falls away, this remains: you are silence. You are the space between. You are the eternal pause before the first breath and the final exhale of surrender. And in that sacred pause, Thoth speaks. So now, as you return to waking life, or drift softly into sleep, carry this remembrance with you. You are the scribe of your own soul. You are the dreamer and the dream. The silent teachings of Thoth are not distant, not reserved for sages or seekers on mountaintops. They live within your breath, your choices, your attention. They come alive in the way you witness your thoughts. Bless your emotions and choose again and again to return to presence. The Hermetic path is not walked, it is remembered. With every breath into stillness, every night of conscious surrender, every moment you choose love over fear, you awaken the alchemist within, and slowly, gently, you begin to shape your life as Thoth shapes the stars, with care, with balance, with reverence. So, sleep tonight not as escape, but as initiation. Enter the temple of your mind with quiet honor. Let the teachings rise from within. And if you listen, truly listen, you may feel a subtle pulse at your center. That is not your heartbeat. It is the echo of the divine reminding you, you are never separate. You are never powerless. You are the mirror, the melody, the light. and Thoth walks with you always in the silent spaces between. If this journey touched you, stirred something ancient in you, or helped you see yourself more clearly, consider sharing your reflection in the comments. Subscribe for more sacred remembering. Let us keep walking together along the inner golden path.